Hi folks, this is your addition video. I'm sorry it's going to take a while to do this, so again, fast forward to where you need to be. This is a rather long, there's a lot of work to be done here. Okay. So the first one is you're adding 5.2 times 10 to the third to 7.7 times 10 to the third. So you'll notice that the two exponents are the same. Since the two exponents are the same, you can just immediately add these without worrying about anything. Okay, so we're going to take the 5.2 times 10 to the third and the 7.7 times 10 to the third. That'll give us an answer times 10 to the third, because when you add, your exponents have to be the same. And so this is going to be a 0.9, and so this is going to be a 12.9. Now that's your, just doing the math, that's what it comes out to be, but you have to make sure that you put this in scientific notation, which means you have to move your decimal point to the left here. So that means I'm making my first number smaller. I have to make this one larger. So this is going to be 1.29 times 10 to the fourth, because I have to make that larger. Okay, that's your answer to number one. Number two, my exponents are different, so I have to pick one. I'm going to pick the third, so I'm going to change this number times 10 to the third, so I make that number bigger. I have to make this number smaller, so that's 0.52 times 10 to the third. Right, so now I'm going to add these. So I've got 7.7 and 0.52, and they're both times 10 to the third, so my answer is going to be times 10 to the third. And here I get a 2 and a 2, and I have to carry 1, which is an 8. So it's an 8.22 times 10 to the third. Right? Since it's already in scientific notation, that's all I have to do. Okay? All right. I notice I have something that's 10 to the second and 10 to the fifth. Right? I am going to choose 10 to the fifth. I could choose either one, but only one of them is going to work directly into scientific notation. Now if I put this times 10 to the fifth, I have made this number bigger by 3 times, so I have to move my decimal point 0052. I have to go and move it 3 times to my left. So if I take 7.7 and I add it to 0.0052, and these are both times 10 to the fifth, my answer is going to be times 10 to the fifth. 10 to the fifth, and it's going to be 7.7052. Let me try something just for grins, so give me a second. Okay, that did not work. Alright, 7.052 times 10 to the fifth. Alright, let's keep going. Now you'll notice our exponents are negative, so I have to pick one. I typically pick the bigger exponent. You might have noticed that. So that's what I'm going to do again. I'm going to pick the bigger exponent. The bigger exponent here is 10 to the minus 3. Remember, that's getting bigger. 10 to the minus 4 is smaller. It has more zeros in it. So this is going to be so if I make this number bigger, I have to make this number smaller. So that's going to be 0.62 times 10 to the minus 3. So now my exponents are the same. So now I can say 8.9 and I can say 0.62. I'm going to add those together. These are both times 10 to the minus 3. So my answer is going to be times 10 to the minus 3. I'm adding these together, and I get a 2 there, and I get a 5 there, and I get a 9.52 times 10, to the minus 3. Please remember to make sure that you check that. Alright, here I've got a minus 3 and a minus 5. I can try either one. Again, I tend to pick the bigger one, so I'm going to try 10 to the minus 3. So I change my 10 to the minus 5 to 10 to the minus 3. I made this number bigger, so I have to make this one smaller, and I have to make it smaller by 2. So I move the decimal point twice. So this is going to be 8.9, and it's going to be 0.062, and these are both times 10 to the minus 3. So I add them together, and I get 8.962 times 10 to the minus 3. Folks, I'm doing a lot of addition here. You can do subtraction. It really doesn't matter. It all works out the same. All right. So it's 8.962 times 10 to the minus 3. All right. Again, I tend to choose the bigger exponent, which in this case is 10 to the 0. Remember that 10 to the 0 is really 1. So if I want to make that 10 to the 0, I have to make this number bigger by 3. So this number has to become smaller by 3 positions, decimal positions. So I take the 6.2 and I add it to the 0.0089. These are both times 10 to the 0, and they come out to be 6.2089 times 10 to the 0. All right. Let's just, I typically pick the bigger one. Let's pick the smaller one just to see what happens, just so that we get some experience on seeing that. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this times 10 to the minus 8th. So I've made that number smaller, so I have to make this one bigger by 2. So it's 392.83. See what's going to happen? Now all of a sudden I'm going to end up with this big number that I've got to play with. But anyway, let's go ahead and do it. 392.83 times 10 to the minus 8th. And I'm adding 5.293, again, times 10 to the minus 8th. Right, so my answer is going to be times 10 to the minus 8th. Right, and now I get a 3, and a 9 plus 3 is 12, carry 1. That's going to be a 1, carry 1, and that's an 8, and that's a 398.123. But you'll notice that to put it in scientific notation, I have to move this 2 to the left. I have to make this number smaller. I have to make this one bigger. All right, so it's going to become 3. That was good, Skip. 3.98123 times 10 to the, well, I made this number smaller. I had to make that one bigger, so it becomes minus 6. All right, so you'll notice had we tried the minus 6 to begin with, that would have worked better. Right. All right. Again, I'm now going to pick my bigger one since that seems to work better. That means this is different by 4. If I look from -2 to +2, that's different by 4. So this is going to be 0.000678 times 10 to the 2. So I add these together, 4.65 and 0.000678. These are both times 10 to the 2. So this gives me 4.650.678 times 10 to the 2. Okay, that is it for number 9. Number 10, my bigger number is the -2 one. So I'm going to say, well, if I want to make that -3, I'm sorry, I want to make this one -2. So that's 10 to the -2. If I do that, if I made that number bigger, I have to make this one smaller, so that's 0.2586. So it's 0.2586, and I'm adding that to 5.7414. These are both times 10 to the -2. My answer is going to be, let's see what I'm adding here. That's a 0, carry a 1, 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 that's a 6, times 10 to the -2. And that's my answer for number 9. And finally, for number 10, I picked times 10 to the 3rd, so I have to convert my 10 to the 0 times 10 to the 3rd. If I do that, I have to make my number smaller. This number, 10 to the 0, got bigger. This number over here got smaller, changed by 3. So I take 4.6644, and I take 0.00433. They're both times 10 to the 3rd, so my answer is going to be times 10 to the 3rd. That's a 3, that's a 7, that's an 8, that's a 6, and a 6, and a 4. 4.66873 times 10 to the 3. That is it. If you have questions, ask me in class. I'll see you then. Have a good day.